Here we go.
All right. Okay, nobody's back on at the moment.
Maybe you just want to do the giveaway like after the break or
Right.
towards the end of the shift, of the end of the stream.
Session.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. Like my brain went all the way around that word, except for
Yeah,
the word.
dude, it's okay. my brain has not been working properly all day. Oh my
All
god.
right. Valencia, give it a minute. We're about to do break.
Yeah.
All right. Jeez. Okay. So you guys head out the northern gate, and the Cerulean Guard is standing there next to the bridge that essentially over the rushing river that acts as the northern gate. Are you guys wanting to get some distance away, or?
Probably. We want to step away a little bit.
Okay. All right, so you step out there, and you're at least 10-15 minutes away from midnight when you arrive in the position you're comfortable with waiting. And once midnight strikes, at this point the cloud's fairly clear. The sky's fairly clear, and just a moment here. Oop, calendar's right there. It is a full Sayuna moon, also known as the red-crowned moon. Being an almost purely white moon, the reflection is almost like daylight, but very directional, almost straight down, casts very stark shadows. But it is, after a few moments, right around the time that midnight strikes, cloud cover rolls in front of the moon and casts the area into darkness, very dim light. And after a few moments, you hear the flapping of wings in the distance, and it grows louder, like large sheets of leather being whipped in the wind. And you see out of the sky a large, eyeless, bat-like creature flying in your general direction, aligning itself with the road, and behind it, pulling a dark carriage.
So they're like huge bat things, you're saying?
Yep.
I don't like
Why
the
am I
idea.
the only one? Oh my god! I keep picturing the stinking Pokemon bat thing.
Large,
What the fuck was
skin
the
and
thing's
bones,
name?
black creature with no eyes, bat-like wings,
Ew.
very vicious-looking mouth, not the cute face that you're used to bats having, the mouse-like face.
You call the bat cute?
They are, if you look really closely at them.
Okay.
Excuse me. So it lines itself up on the road. You are completely alone out here outside the gate. But it lines itself up to the road and kind of glides into a landing. The carriage lands hard, but it seems to be designed to take the impact. The carriage is elegant, but made of a very dark wood. And as it lands, the eyeless bat-like creature is kind of restless and chomping at the bit. You can't get a very good view on the driver. Every inch of skin seems to be covered, including its face. But the carriage door... This is not appropriate music for this moment.
I'm not even hearing anything, so...
The carriage door opens and you see Jael, the same vampire that came to bring the invitation, steps out onto the step outside the door and swings the door wide open. You can see the inside is covered in a very dark red velvet material.
Fancy.
And he gestures with one arm up into the carriage. We are ready for you. What would you guys like to do?
Malcolm, you're leading, right?
I mean, we don't have much choice. Our airship's back there. We told them we wouldn't take their travel method, so...
Right. But I'm already cautious of these people.
I mean, I guess we just go.
Right.
All right. The inside of the carriage, of course, it seats about 4 people, 2 seats facing each other. Any particular way you guys would like to sit?
I just want to make sure I can look out the window.
Yeah, both
Yep.
seats have good views out the windows.
I'm gonna sit so I'm facing the front of the wagon.
Okay. Far side.
I sit across from Malcolm.
All right.
So that way,
Zuko.
if I have to, reach out and shoot somebody that's driving it.
Oh boy.
All right. Zuko, where are you sitting?
Doesn't matter.
Sit next to me. Sit next to me.
Okay.
All right. So Zuko takes a seat closest to the door, facing backwards.
I've already been freaking impaled by these things. Just please do me this favor.
All right. So Jael gets back into the carriage, closes the door behind him, and takes a seat next to Malcolm. And immediately you hear the whips, and the bat-like creature seems to be running along the ground to get up some speed, using its feet and the claws at the end of its wings to pull itself forward, and then it flaps, and you feel the carriage lift off the ground, being pulled at speed behind this creature as it flies up into the sky. And that is where we are going to go to break. We do not have any viewers currently, so we are going to go ahead and postpone the giveaway until the end of the stream, since we lost everyone when our stream just suddenly shut down for no reason. We'll look into that, I guess. Hopefully I can find some stats that explain to me why that happened and it wasn't just a random crash. But we will be back in about 10 minutes, and we will do the giveaway at the end of the stream, which we're probably going to wrap up at about 10 o'clock tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern, so that Jake can get to work in the morning. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes, and we'll see where this carriage is taking us. All right, welcome back. All right, again, apologies about the sudden crash, but we're going to go ahead and postpone the giveaway until the end of the stream. Hopefully we have enough viewers to justify actually doing it. But we're going to go ahead and jump back into our story here. When we left off, the Regulators reluctantly boarded the dark carriage being pulled by a large, vicious-looking bat creature. And it was lifting into the air. Now, Malcolm, you're keeping an eye out the window?
Correct.
Mir, of
Kind of
course,
suspicious to me that he didn't want us to fly our airship there because he doesn't want to know where it's at. But we could just look out the window and see.
I don't think you can see anything.
Alright, Mira, of course, your amulet's buzzing slightly, being in the presence of at least one, if not two, supernatural creatures.
So it's going bonkers.
Yep. But, Malcolm, looking out the window, you see the carriage lift up into the air, and of course, in this era, you're in a fairly open area of the country. The only light you're really getting is what's the moonlight hitting the ground, but you can clearly see that you are traveling, what appears to be normal flying means. But a few moments into the flight, you can see the majority of this bat-like creature's wingspan out the window, even though you can't see the creature itself from this angle. Again, the skies are clear. The red-crowned moon is shedding light on the ground below. It looks very surreal and two-dimensional, though, the way that the light shines down onto everything and casts these long, sharp shadows. But if you're looking at the creature as it's flying forward, you notice a few moments into the flight, the wings begin to disappear from the front backwards, as if the creature was passing through some invisible wall, and disappearing as it went through. And after a few moments, the wings are gone completely, and you start to see the same thing happening to the carriage itself. And a split second later, you are surrounded by this dark blue and black and purple cloud-like environment. You get the sensation of moving forward as the stuff flies past you, but it's very dark, and everything that you recognize of the world is, for a few moments, hidden from view. Anything you guys want to do or say or anything like that?
Not particularly.
Jael watches your reactions. Please do not be startled. This is part of that method of travel I discussed before. We will be back in the world you know very shortly. And sure enough, a few moments later, you watch the same visual phenomenon that you saw before, the bat gradually beginning to disappear, and the carriage as well. And next thing you know, you are back over a landscape. There is, somewhat to the north, a mountain range. Would you be able to see it? No, not from this distance. You actually see dim indications of city lights in the distance, and the carriage takes a fairly sharp left turn. And you see another much closer city, the lamplight from the straits, causing the city to somewhat glow. There's a small city there up against what you estimate to be the eastern slope of this mountain range. And the carriage continues to turn in a left-handed curve up towards the mountain, and some about an hour away on foot, you estimate. Slightly higher up on the slope, you see the dark shadows of a large structure coming into your vision. It looks very old, somewhat fortified, but a good portion of it seems to have collapsed. Much of the outer wall has crumbled away over time. There are parts of the building itself that have clearly caved in or fallen over. But amongst that ruin, you also see candlelight and light coming through windows of this structure. As the creature and the carriage continue to curve to the left, you are brought down somewhat hard in front of what appears to be the main entrance to this building, or series of buildings. You come to a stop in front of two square, short towers, and there's a gap in between them. You see a wrought iron gate, double gate. One is laying on the ground. The other one is loosely still hanging onto its hinges. On the tower-like structure to the right-hand side of the path, you see two very large wooden doors. The style you usually see on the front of stables or a barn. Dressed up somewhat eloquently at one point, but still clear in its purpose. The other structure is surrounded by very large windows, which you find very odd, given in this area windows are expensive. And the larger it is, the worse it is. But this entire building is actually covered in very large, elegant, floor-to-ceiling windows. And given how old this structure appears to be, you can only imagine what kind of expense it took to construct it when it was new.
Interesting, a vampire that lives with windows.
You recognize, looking between the two towers, you see it's a small courtyard, and there's a smaller set of double doors at the far end of it, lit on either side by large candelabras. But Jael steps out of the carriage, opens the door, and beckons all three of you out.
I step down and very leery look around, getting a lay of the land as we're stepping out.
All right, roll a perception check and let me know what you're looking for, if anything in specific.
Perhaps how many guards there are around.
Okay. Yeah. Give me that perception check.
28 total, not 20.
Nice.
I wish I could have rolled some of those last week whenever I was trying to do a strength check or whatever it was.
Right, you don't
intelligence check to break out of the stupid freaking paralysis.
Right. You don't get the impression of anybody standing watch per se. There's another, likely a vampire, standing outside the gate, but the way they're dressed, you get the impression more of a servant, a greeter. Dressed similarly to Jael, actually. As I said, as you were approaching, you could tell that at one point, probably millennia ago, this building was surrounded by a wall, a fortified wall, but most of it has collapsed. And there doesn't seem to be anything in the ways of defenses per se, and nothing obvious anyway. The path that leads up to this. Well, there is no path leading up to the manor. You can kind of get an impression of where a road might have been placed at one point, leading up to this this compound or this fort or whatever it was at one point. But whatever it is long since overgrown. This appears to be a home located in the middle of nothing. But you do still get a view of the city, like I said, about an hour away, probably down the slope of the highlands surrounding this mountain range. And again, you get the two front towers, the courtyard, which is. There's a lot of evidence that this structure has not been maintained for a long time, but recently it's like someone has just started to take care of it again. They're trying to spruce it back up. So the three of you are out of the carriage then?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Jael walks over to the other vampire that you see standing by the gate, or what's left of it. And he says something quietly to him. The other vampire nods. This gentleman appears to have been somewhat older when he was turned. Probably in his mid-60s. Again, dressed somewhat like a servant or a butler. And he approaches you as Jael goes back to the carriage, and the carriage rolls away. This way, if you please, you are expected. And he walks you through the central courtyard up to the double doors.
I
Alright. Guys, doing a marching order, you just kind of bunching together, or any particular way you want to approach the building?
No.
Not
We don't have a
really.
I
speed
don't
thing.
think so.
Alright. He walks forward and opens the double doors and allows you entry into a very well lit foyer. You immediately notice that at least this room is not a typical square. About 10 feet in, it goes from a normal rectangular structure, and then it angles out for about another 15 to 20 feet. There is a hallway leading off either side, and on the far side of these two hallways, there is a fan-shaped extra wide stairway that leads up to a landing that is surrounded by paintings, and that back wall that the stair leads up to is almost octagonal, or half octagonal.
Interesting.
Yep, would be if it was you were to mirror it, it would be an octagon. But then two more staircases go up from that landing somewhere up to the upper floor.
Sounds similar to something I built in Sims once.
I'll let you guys see a map when we're done with this. I can't show it on
No, of
stream
course.
because it was done by an artist. I just used it for inspiration. So he closes the door behind you, and while you're waiting for him to do that, you notice there is a male vampire. Looks to be he was probably in his early 20s when he was turned. Short cut, dark hair. He is leaning on the banister of the staircase talking to a female vampire who looks to have been the same age when she was turned, roughly. They're having a conversation, but as you enter, they both kind of stare you down.
The fuck are they looking at?
They're both casually drinking out of ornate goblets, and they just watch you as you proceed through the room. The butler leads you down the left-hand hallway. You pass 2 doors on either side as you go through another doorway into another hall that takes a turn to the right. Past 2 more doorways on the left-hand side as you enter a very odd spot of the hallway that's almost triangular. And in the far corner of this triangle, you pass a large ornate door that resembles something you quite often see on a chapel, but any religious iconography has been defaced, so you can't get a clear view of what it once was, but you get the idea of what the room is. But in the far corner of this triangular piece of the hallway, he leads you through 2 more double doors, and you enter this large, open, octagon-shaped ballroom that is ringed by circular columns. Most of the far half of the ballroom is covered in 3-story high, floor-to-ceiling windows. In the center of the ballroom, you see probably about 3 dozen vampires of various races and genders, dancing to elegant, very old-sounding music. And at first, none of them really pay you any mind, but you do see on the far side of the room, sitting in a throne-like seat, Salas, sitting in and watching the festivities.
Are you fidgeting with something, or is it just me hearing things?
It's part of the music.
No, I don't hear the music, so...
Oh, might be the dice then. So anyway, as you enter, the butler kind of gestures for you to stop there at the doorway. And he clears his throat and calls out, "If I may have your attention, announcing the Regulators. Malcolm of House Colon, Zuko of House Mousebane, and Mira of House Failwin." At this point, the rest of the vampires in the room do catch your notice, and they stop what they're doing. The music stops, and they all look at you and somewhat apprehensively.
Great, now we're in the spotlight.
You hear clapping from the other side of the room, quick, short bursts, trying to grab everyone's attention. It's coming from Salas.
Oh boy.
"Relax, everyone. These are honored guests, and honorable, from what I've heard. They have been offered safe passage, and I trust we can assume they will give us the same courtesy. Return to your merriment."
None of them touched me, we're good.
All of the vampires, somewhat reluctantly it seems, try to go back to what they were doing, pretend nothing happened. But a path is cleared down the center, and the butler brings you forward through the crowd towards Salas. The music resumes. I don't know. I'm not sure what appropriate music would be for this, but anyway, yeah, use your imaginations.
I've been using my imaginations for several sessions here.
So you're brought forward to where Salas is sitting, and he smiles and nods at you. I'm so glad you accepted the invitation. I wasn't sure you would. Welcome to my family home. It's been lacking in maintenance and care for a few centuries, but we are getting it back together. How was the trip?
Rather uneventful.
Interesting.
Good. Glad to hear it. Well, I hope what I told my compatriots is correct, that I have offered you safety and you won't try anything untoward while you're here.
If they behave, I'll behave.
Yep.
That is the arrangement I tried to set up, Mira. Thank you. Well, I imagine you wouldn't be very comfortable mingling with the crowd, and hopefully dinner will be served shortly and we can get to our conversation. And sure enough, a few moments later, there's a bell you can hear being rung from another room, and the music winds down, and the vampires all head towards the same doors that you entered the ballroom in.
Wait, dinner? I mean, vampires don't exactly eat.
3 more people approach from your side, and you realize after a few moments these are not vampires. There's a human female, a human female, a human dwarf, a male dwarf, and a human dwarf. That makes sense. And a male.
It does, doesn't it?
A male half elf come up to you. They look a little bit dazed. If you would like, my servants here can take your coats so you'll be more comfortable. Coats and cloaks and robes, whatever you've brought with you.
Mm-hmm. Reluctantly take off my cloak.
Right, the human female takes her cloak and folds it neatly over her arm, gives you a nod, and walks off towards what you assume to be some sort of coat room.
Lay all the coats on the bed.
Dang cook. Someone shit on the coats. The rest of you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Zuko...
I missed what you said. I was talking to Jessica. Sorry.
The 3 charmed-looking mortal servants came in and offered to take your coats, cloaks, robes, whatever, your outerwear.
I turn them away from me. Malcolm doesn't take his duster off.
Okay.
Ever.
That is true. I've never seen him take off his duster.
The servant just gives you a nod and walks awkwardly away, waiting for further commands.
Our guest number, you can see me take it off if you know what I mean.
All right. So, Silas walks with you back into the triangular-shaped hallway, and across to the other side of that corner, and through double doors, there's a long dining hall with one long table, elegantly decorated with multiple candelabras along the way. You see more mortal servants milling about the room, getting people comfortable, setting out at most of the place settings, just a simple ornate goblet. Most of them fill up the far end of the table first. Salas brings you to the other end, takes a seat at the head of the table, and offers the 3 seats closest to him to you. Specifically, Mira, he invites you to take the seat immediately to his right.
I knew it. Okay.
And then Malcolm and Zuko, you can choose who sits directly across from Mira and who sits either next to her or next to the person across from her.
I'm sure Malcolm's going to want to look over the whole room, wherever he decides to pick, so...
Correct. So I'll sit wherever will give me access to kind of watch over the whole area.
Being, you're at the head of the table, essentially, so pretty much any of those seats, I guess directly across from Mira would probably be best. Give you the best view.
So yeah, I'll sit there then.
Okay.
I'll sit in the other seat.
Are you sitting next to Malcolm or next to Mira?
I will sit next to Malcolm, I suppose.
Okay. So, Mira, one of the vampires, takes a seat next to you.
I want to go home now.
Mom, I'm scared. I want to go home. So, in your place settings, plates are actually brought out. Nice silver plates. And by mortal servants, and they ask you actually what your choice of meal would be. And Salas chimes in. Believe it or not, we can bring up just about anything you could possibly desire. So, feel free to ask for whatever comes to mind.
Anything that comes to mind.
And the first thing that came to my mind was freaking ham. I'm not kidding.
I'm sure they have ham. It's, it's pig.
Yep, the servant
Not
nods.
hard to come by.
Servant nods. And to drink?
What would you like to drink, Mira?
Ale would be fine.
Ale. Very well. Just a moment.
I'll take some rabbit stew with some nice crusty bread, and a glass of rosé. No, I'm just joking. Yeah.
No, that was actually specific. I like that.
Ale as well.
Okay. And you, Zuko?
If I could do like steak, green beans, potatoes, things like that.
That sounds delicious. I am
And to drink?
getting hungry again. God damn it.
To drink, like an apple cider type ale.
Oh, okay.
Ew.
So apple.
Matt would like that.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, sure. Surprisingly quickly, they bring out all of the things you requested. Mira, they actually bring out a cart with a whole ham on it and slice it to your desired thickness.
Nice.
And serve it with a side of vegetables. Malcolm, the bread and rabbit stew is brought out for you. And Zuko, you get your steak.
Ryan, have
with
we actually
potatoes.
had rabbit stew?
I have before. It's been a long time.
I've had rabbit before, so it's just one of those things that I like. When you said it, I got like really curious.
Yeah, I've had it before. I've had rattlesnake before too, and alligator.
Yeah. Well, what?
Yeah, I've had a little bit of everything. When I worked for GFS, there was when I worked for GFS, there was some kind of cook-off or maybe it was an international festival or something. But somebody came in and ordered a whole bunch of alligator fillets because they were from like Florida, and that's like
Oh wow.
that's like one of the big things they sell down there. So we had to order alligator fillets, and they let us try some of them. It was interesting.
I'm sure it was. Every year when we go to Mom, we trick her into thinking that we're eating gator.
So while this is all going on, while you're ordering your food and it's being brought out, you notice a large group of mortals of again of various races and genders are brought in and lined up against one wall, and you notice the other vampires pointing at them, and then they are brought away. You get the impression that was them ordering off the menu.
I want to go home.
And each of the vampires, large goblet is filled with a thick red liquid. Doesn't take a high wisdom roll to figure out what it is. But
this is why I don't play vampires in Skyrim. It just.
But at this point, most of the dinner crowd is very quiet and kind of just waiting to see what happens. So Salas gets his glass and begins to enjoy it, and then sets it down. Waits until you're settled like into your meal and at a comfortable point to stop, or not stop, but to talk. So, I'm sure the burning question on your mind since my messenger first met with you has been why I've asked you to come here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am about to make a very uncomfortable admission. I am someone who likes to always be a step ahead of anyone I'm dealing with, always have the upper hand, know exactly what I want and who I can get it from, but I find myself uncomfortably improvising at the moment. When I fled the fort in the Sensol Vale, I assumed, that at the very least Rivnarat would have survived, and I would be able to offer my assistance in getting rid of him as a bargaining chip. But as far as I can tell, you managed to take care of both Rivnarat and Kromzun. Quite impressive. Especially since it appears you have only retrieved one of the champion's weapons. So, I have brought you here to learn what it is you need, what it is you desire, and see how I can help. When you pulled Gedia's torch from its resting place, I felt the tremor across the realm of the dead. And when I thought I knew what it was then, but when I saw, and he looks at you, Zuko, when I saw you pull it out, I knew what I had to do. Now, first I must ask a question. You are clearly the new champions of the Fira. You seemed very uncomfortable saying that. You have retrieved one of the champion's weapons. But I I get no sense of the presence of Mantis. Which, based on what I know about the champions and the contingencies put in place, I find it very odd that you have been activated, so to speak, and retrieved one of the weapons, but Mantis seems to be nowhere to be found. What exactly is
Look at
happening?
Malcolm. I'm not talking. I'm just looking at Malcolm.
So, I don't want to give away anything to this guy.
Exactly. Why do you think I'm biting my cheek?
But as he's saying that, it starts to occur in my head that possibly us being activated was tied to the return of Mantis. But perhaps because he was not brought and actually killed, that's possibly why maybe our powers have not gone away. Would that be the case, or would just the fates or destiny or the goddesses, whatever, decide that we're not done yet?
Well, remember, it was. I know it was a while you talked to Sally Avon. The goddesses knew that you wanted to use the abilities that would have been used against Mantis to deal with Orcus, and they agreed. Essentially,
Okay.
On your roles as champion against him, Mantis was prevented.
Then yes, give that part. I still have a task.
To do.
We still have work to do.
So Mantis will not be returning. I suppose that does explain something. No, it was Rivnarat who began the cult of Mantis as a contingency when he knew our time was running out. But something about the ones who awakened us seemed different. So who is it they're serving? I see you're uncomfortable divulging too much information. Perhaps a gesture of good faith from me would help?
Perhaps.
He looks over towards you, Mira, and says, I do apologize about the way we parted, but I needed to make sure I could... Again, as I've told you, I don't like to be caught off guard. But I'm sure this brand has been bothering you, and the idea of me knowing exactly where you are, of course, makes you uncomfortable. So, he reaches out a hand, and you feel what you could only describe as the sensation of being burned in reverse. You feel the sensation shrinking and disappearing and being pulled out of you. The brand is gone. Hopefully that will show you that I am sincere in my desire to assist you. So Mantis was prevented, which you may find this hard to believe, but I find as a relief. But clearly the fear I felt, whatever filled that power vacuum, needed to be dealt with as well. So, who is it these undead abominations that are revived us serve? Who has taken Mantis's throne?
And seeing that he removed the mark and everything off of Mira, I'm sitting next to Mira or across from her?
You're sitting across from me.
Okay. And Mira is sitting next to him, correct?
Right, both of you
Yes.
are the closest to the head of the table where Salas is sitting.
Okay. I am going to stare him down a bit and tap a couple times on the table before I say Orcus.
He kind of sharply inhales when he hears that. Of course, I should have recognized his work. And I suppose that does make the most sense. Orcus would have been the first one the cult called to their side when they were intending on bringing Mantis back. So, I take it that means he has ascended to godhood, then?
I'm guessing he wasn't when you were still kicking last time?
No, he was immortal the last time I saw Orcus. He was most reverence mortal followers. In fact, Mantis was so impressed with him, he broke off a piece of his own heart and handed it to the being you now know as Orcus, of course. So, eventually, it seems he met his mortal end, and being in possession of a piece of Mantis's heart, ascended to godhood.
Sounds correct.
Interesting. You know, well, Orcus was not powerful enough to create much of anything at the time, but we were his conception, his idea. Everything that we are as vampires was conjured in the sick, twisted mind of that. Well, I suppose he was a man at the time, but even for someone like me, he was a bit off.
It sounds like you hate where you are.
Not at all. But I acknowledge what I am to others. I'm not stupid, nor am I blinded by religious zealotry like Rivnarat or bloodlust like Kronzoon. So, I am aware of how I appear to others.
What is your end game then? You seem to play chess, or whatever the equivalent is in this world.
Chess exists.
When your brethren seemed to be more concerned with, like you said, religion and just pure bloodlust. What's your move?
Well, Malcolm, you seem the clever type. Now, I'm sure as you know, most vampires are not turned voluntarily. But that wasn't the case for me, Rivnarat, or Kronzoon. So besides religious devotion to Mantis or bloodlust, why do you think someone might choose this life?
Is anybody hearing that scratching noise, or is it just me?
Wow. It's amazing you can't hear the music, but you can hear that. I was just playing with Post-it note pen.
Shut up.
Why do you think...
I just wondered what it was. I was like...
Why do I think you were turned? I think you were turned for time. You have plans that you want to set into motion, and you want the time to see them through. Being turned gave you the ability to stop that time from slipping away from you.
A very good guess. Perhaps overthought somewhat. Very close, yes, Mira. Immortality. See, My family was wealthy and influential for many years before I was born. It wasn't my fault that I came into existence after Mantis introduced the Eternals to carnal reproduction. And of course, at the time, when one died, there was really nowhere to go. You wandered the world in some shape or form, usually an incorporeal spirit. And I inherited my family's fortune and lands and influence fairly late in my life. So yes, I volunteered to be turned for immortality. And you know what makes immortality very unenjoyable?
What?
Spending several millennia of it staring at the bottom of a obsidian coffin lid.
Sorry.
You see, Mantis made us what we are. Orcus thought us up. But unlike Rivnerat and Kronzun, I had absolutely no loyalty to Mantis or Orcus, or anyone else for that matter. But when the Millennium of Darkness, as I've heard people call it now, turned from general chaos to war, I was obligated to fight on Mantis' side. And when the champions appeared, sealed Mantis in his realm and ended all of it, well, the end result was eventually being hunted down by those self-righteous knights and entombed for 5,000 years. I don't have any hard feelings about it. Besides, hard to hold a grudge against people who've been dead for thousands of years. But when I was awoken, though I said nothing of it, I knew that I was not going to make the same mistake twice. That's not something I'm known for doing. So, my first thought was if I managed to encounter you, I would help you with Mantis, but then I sensed there was no presence anywhere in this realm from him. Then I decided I would turn against my fellow vampires, the other elders, and they're gone too. But if it's Orcus I have to go up against, so be it. I learned last time what the winning side is. I have no particular plans, I simply mean to live forever. So, my thought is that I do what I can to help you take down Orcus, and then I leave this, what do you call it, a Creomond, never to be seen again by you. We go our separate ways. Everyone lives on in peace. In fact, with Rivnerat gone, there are rumors there are still remnants of his descendants, his house in the continent you now call Sacramond. I will go there and live my life. Well, my afterlife, I suppose.
I look over at you two to try to gauge what your reactions are to all of this.
What kind of reactions are you guys giving?
My reaction is holy shit for
I mean, I think he's pretty sincere.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to have a death wish.
Well, he made that pretty clear in the note.
Mm-hmm.
While you guys are giving each other looks, you see Salas looks under, like lifts up the tablecloth, down at your legs, Zuko, and gives you kind of a squinty-eyed look. Have you always had legs? I'm sorry. I apologize. This is probably considered rude, but there are at least half a dozen new races walking around this plane that did not exist when I was around last. But you look very much like a sea elf with legs.
They didn't have legs back then?
See, oh, wait, what's it? I believe modern folk call them merfolk, mermaids, mermen, whatever, something along those lines. I'm still catching up. But yes,
You're descended from a mermaid.
Sea elves were sea-dwelling creatures.
Dude, I should push you in the ocean and see if you grow a tail.
I don't know.
And he points at you, Malcolm, and you're, let's see, you look like either a very large halfling or a short, hairy leviathan. That makes you, human?
Yes. I'm actually probably a mixture of both.
Human, and,
Although I don't know how a halfling and a leviathan would. The logistics
Do
are.
it. Yeah. Let's
It's
not
like-
think about that.
It's like Lilia Marshall. G-Quox.
She is
How do-
pretty short.
How does that work? The G-Quox
I don't know.
episode's the best.
and you, well, I can sense your celestial blood from here, mixed with a bit of demon. So, you must be one of Ivor's champions.
Was.
Yes, I can understand why that might be a short-lived alliance. I met him. He was terrifying. Anyway, so as I said, the deal is I do what I can to assist you until Orcus is no more, and then I leave the continent. The champions never see me again, and there's no harm coming from either of us. I know this
Sounds fair to me.
I know this may make some of you uncomfortable, especially you. He looks at Malcolm. I know I'm particularly an abomination to the champion of death. But I think you're all rational people. And I think you can recognize the lesser of two evils. Quite literally in this case.
I mean, I would guess that we would have to agree, probably, right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, before we get into the fine logistics of the situation, another, we'll call it, well, not so much as an act of good faith, but a contract of sorts. And he takes a small little bell that's sitting next to his plate and he rings it, and you see the butler come in, and Silas whispers in his ear. He leaves for a moment and comes back carrying a very nice cloth with something inside of it, holding it with both hands, and he hands it over. Or he leans over towards Silas with it in both arms. Silas opens it up, and you see inside a silver dagger. And he delicately picks it up by the wooden part of the handle. And he pulls out a small vial from his pocket, sets it on the table, and he slices open his wrist slightly, allowing it to bleed into the vial, fills it up, and corks it. And vampire blood is very thick and dark, so it takes a few moments, but he fills up the vial, corks it, and he says a small incantation under his breath, and he gestures it forward, not specifically to any of you, but where you guys can reach it. He says, "This vial is my life. As long as our arrangement is in place, this vial will be indestructible. But I am promising you now that you will not come to harm from me or mine. If I break that promise, the vial will become vulnerable, and destroying it will destroy me. Of course, if you break your side of the deal, the vial will vanish. But this is the insurance to show you that I am truthful about not wanting us to come to blows."
Interesting.
Does anybody take the vial?
I'll take it.
Okay. Make sure you add an item to your inventory. Solos's
Life essence.
life essence. Yeah, that'll work. So, what is it I can do to help you with Orcus?
Is it something I could look up on the thing, or just randomly?
It's something you'd have to add a custom item.
Okay, so...
If you need help with that, just remind me tomorrow. I'll help you set it up.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
So what can he help us with? First of all, do we even know where Orcus is?
Yeah, in Haim.
That's the city Alaric warned us not to go to.
And
Without
we're not going
an
to go there until after we get all 3 God Killer weapons, I'm sure.
All 4.
All 4.
Well, how are we gonna get all 4 if we do not have a 4th?
But hopefully by then we have the 4th champion.
Somebody thinking about joining our group?
I mean, I've
Eric,
got a
come back.
friend that would be interested when we go back to person.
There's also one that I may be bringing on. I have to check in on that. But you still got 2 more weapons to retrieve before then anyway.
Well, yes, but if they join before that, just make sure they join the right way and don't get shot as soon as I see them. Got a little bit more trigger happy since Alaric joined our group. So I mean, well, he's undead. Do we really think that? Like, I would say maybe scouting Haim would be a good choice, like getting a layout of the city and stuff like that, troop numbers. That's a pretty far off thing too. Like, we're not going to be making a run
Going there anyway. Yeah.
at him anytime soon. What else do you guys think he could help with?
And trust me, you do not need to come up with an exhaustive list now. The end result is Orcus gone. So, anything I can help with along the way, you can always add, but anything to start. I imagine when you do finally go against Orcus, you are going to need an army to get through his defenses. I am still catching up, but I believe I have about 3,000 descendants, still close enough to gather them. That is one resource
Crap.
you could have at your disposal, and undead against undead is... Well, it will give you somewhat of an advantage in getting to him. Could also... Well... If you know anything about the history of Sacramon, the little I've learned, vampires and other undead creatures make very good spies. I will be gathering information for my own benefit. Of course, I can pass on anything I think is relevant to you as well, but if you have anything I should be on the lookout for, I can make sure that that is handled. And of course, I was alive some 5,000 years ago. You will be going to many ancient places in your search for the remaining weapons. So, any information you need about the past that may help you in the present, that is at your disposal as well.
Out of character. Isn't there like 1 or 2 weapons in places that are just like a vague area? You might know more specifically where they might be at than we do.
Well, that's what I was going to say is possibly because Rumlin, it says it's deep in the swamps in the city of Erismore is what the notes I have. So if we can get a more definite location on that one for sure. Kartanok, Klizmir is entombed with that god killer weapon, so we really just have to find where Klizmir's tomb is.
Buried.
And then, of course, kill him.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, he's only been alive for, what, 1,000 years? 100, or at least a couple hundred?
About 5,000.
Good God, even more than I thought.
Jesus Christ.
Remember, the defeat
He's
of
probably
Mantis...
gone crazy.
The defeat of Mantis is like the BC AD changeover in this world, roughly. Nobody's entirely certain when that happened, but so yeah, you're in the year 5121, and he was alive, for part of a lifetime before that.
So yeah, he's been alive. He's been alive for about 5,000 years, probably. He was entombed with his relatives that were also like undead, right?
No, he was the only one that couldn't die. That was part of what drove him nuts, because he watched generations of his family pass before him.
Even challenged his own sons to try and see if they can kill him, and he ended up killing them.
And so he's been by himself for 5,000 years. This dude gonna be nuts, cray cray.
Oh yeah.
And hell bent on trying to get us to kill him. Actually, maybe we could
we can help, yeah.
Maybe we could just talk him into just taking a knee.
Well, he could have done that with his son too, though. That was part of the problem. Was he wanted to die, but he also couldn't go down without a fight. It's not in him. And he could not find anybody to face him that was strong enough to overcome his
maybe we save that one for
aversion
last.
to death.
I've got his spell. We might have a bit of a small advantage.
I mean,
also, decapitation kills anything, so.
I mean, you have your boomsticks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I always have my boomsticks.
Well, those weren't
you
around
need your
5,000
special
years
bullets.
ago.
True.
True, guns are a newer invention. I mean, it's up to you guys. If we want him to scout out Rumlin, we could head to Kartanok next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's gonna be my weapon, and then we'll be doing Mira's last, probably. I think is in the was
I'm fine with it. Like I said, I want to see my family too.
Well, her weapon would be the one down in Rumlin. Her hometown is near the old hometown of the Champion of Darkness, which is your only real lead in finding where he was finally buried and where the last weapon likely is.
So that's gonna be the last. That's gonna be the last place we go, probably, and maybe we'll find the fourth champion as well there. So Kartanak, have him scout out Rumlin, and then we'll go from there, I guess. Actually, maybe we could ask him if he knows where the tomb of Klizmir is.
Well, why not? Go ahead and roleplay it out.
Know the Guardians, the previous champions. So yeah, I'm like, well, we are trying to find the tombs of the previous champions. We are aware of one that might be in the city of Erismore in Rumlin. We don't have an exact location on it. If your people could scout out that location. We also have a lead on a tomb in Kartanak where Klizmir was entombed. With you being familiar with the previous champions, maybe you might have a clue where that might be.
Well, of course, Klizmir was still walking around when I was entombed, but assuming they put him in his family tomb, I think I can give you a slightly more precise location. Do you bring out the maps? Old and
yes, I do.
All right. Should bring up the. Bear with me just a moment while I bring up the world map. Actually, I should just bring it up. Well, no. I don't have it set up to put it up on the screen, so I'll just give you landmarks. Alright, well, starting off with the tomb of Klizmir. Can't I see the town name? Alright, that ain't gonna work. Let me just a moment here. Can't properly.
Take your time.
So he compares the old map that Arjun has of when the world was whole to some more modern maps. All right. Well, the closest landmark that I can recommend for finding Klizmir's tomb would be this town labeled as Nurmivik. I know his family tomb is somewhere in this range, and he points to the eastern side of the mountain range, well, northeastern side. And he shows you a river that runs down from the mountains through the town of Nurmavik. So that is the place I would start. There should be some old trails that lead up into the mountains. It will most likely be a long journey on foot, filled with perils not related to your quest, not the least of which will, of course, be the existing Leviathan tribes still wandering those mountains, who, well, no two tribes is exactly the same, so it's hard to say how they will react to your presence and how they will receive your mission. But I would say within a week on foot from Nurmavik, you should be able to find his family tomb. And he gives you a little marking on our dunes map to give you a more narrow aim of where you're trying to end up.
Okay, so I take all those notes for sure and add them to the map.
Okay. Somebody write down the name of that town? Or do you need the spelling?
Can you give me one time?
Nurmavik.
It is Nuurmivik. I can
Heck of a spelling.
give you guys
Nurmavik.
Nurmavik. And sometime this week I can take a screenshot of that part of the world map so you guys can get a visual reference.
Sounds good to me.
And you ask him about the one in Rumlin too?
Yeah.
The swampy area.
Yep. He takes a while on this one, trying to reconcile the geographical changes over the last 5,000 years. But he is able to give...
I feel like that would give me a headache.
He is able to give you a more narrow... a more narrow search area for where the city referenced was located back then and where it probably is now. And after a while he says, will also be a long journey. Doesn't seem to be located very close to any modern civilization. My recommendation is to start in Larum Sur and head north. Try not to get eaten. And something tells me, based on the current climate of the area, there's a good chance that the location you seek may be submerged.
Ah, hell.
Hey, I have something.
What?
Don't I have something that helps me breathe underwater?
Yeah, that's you, but you'd be going in by yourself.
Oh yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, that would suck. You don't know what's under there.
So I would recommend finding means of allowing yourselves to, at least temporarily, breathe underwater. It may be necessary to get to the artifact itself.
Hmm.
I'm sure we can go check out All Highs.
Yeah. I'm sure he's talked to his brother by now about the discount.
So, anything else you would like information on?
Not that I can think of. You guys...
Not that I can think of.
Very well. You are in contact with the agency known as the Night Shifters, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I will make sure that my my team of spies makes a connection with the night shifters, and that is how we will communicate going forward. So if you need anything from me, anything that occurs to you, send it through those channels and I will get back to you. And if I need to let you know of anything that I've discovered, I will pass it back along the same way.
Okay.
At this point, most of the group has finished their meals, so to speak, their liquid meals. And
Yeah.
they're all beginning to either head out into various areas of the mansion or depart. And he stands. I'm glad that we could come to an understanding. It would have been an unfortunate waste of resources for both of us to let this come to violence. Whenever you are ready to depart, the carriage will be waiting for you out front. And I can have you back home in a matter of minutes. So, if there is
there's
nothing...
anything else for us to do, right, guys?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Alright, well, in that case, I will be retiring. Thank you for visiting. Hope you enjoyed your meal, and we will speak soon. He leaves the room. The butler comes over and asks if you are ready to leave.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. He guides you back through the home and out the front doors, through the courtyard.
Do
You
we
see-
get our coats back?
Yes, the servant, before you even leave the dining room, the servants bring back your cloak and robe.
Good.
And you were brought through the mansion, back towards the front doors. You see several vampires turn into bat form and fly off into the night. And you were guided out of the courtyard up to the same carriage that you were brought in. Jael beckons you back into the carriage. You guys taking the same seating arrangement?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jael says, I hope you had a good time. Was the evening fruitful?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Well, let's get you back home then, eh? And he hops in with you, closes the door, and you again feel the bat-like creature take a short run and pull the carriage into the night sky. Now approaching about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, the carriage gains height, flies forward, and once again you watch as the bat disappears into the strange dark portal that allows it to travel across great distances in a short period of time. You have a few moments to consider everything that you've heard, everything that you've experienced, to weigh the implications of allying yourself with one of the original elder vampires, and what this means for your quest going forward. And as the carriage brings you through the dark portal back towards Anexa, your home for the last few days, you are all left with your thoughts and personal feelings on everything that has transpired and decide how you want to proceed. And that is where we are going to end our session. So, when we come back, we're kind of open-ended what is going to happen from here forward, but on the short list of things for the Regulators to do, they still have several God Killer weapons to go after. They also have a request from the Jarl of Palhas Province to break some defectors from the Imperial Vanguard out of a special military prison to try to convince them to take on the new role of the army of Palhas. And, of course, all the political implications of Palhas and Frilos Province trying to secede from the Empire. Meanwhile, the Imperial Vanguard seems to be heading towards Haim to have its first open conflict between the forces of Orcus and the Empire itself. All of these heavy implications, all these moving parts coming together. The Regulators are going to be instrumental in determining how each of them plays out, and the domino effect of those situations going forward. So, we will be back in 2 weeks unless anybody has anything going on. That is May 14th. No. All right. So we will be back on May 14th. Yes, May 14th, same time, 7 p.m. On Friday. Since we only have one viewer, and I think that is Ryan, right?
I think so. It might be me or Jess. Sometimes I wonder if it doesn't count us as two different viewers because we're from the same IP address.
Well, we'll go ahead and try to run the sweepstakes here real quick. See what happens.
Just so you know, whenever you go to do the raffle, it makes you pay for it right away. That's why sometimes I'm like fumbling around trying to get the giveaway started whenever I do it.
Yeah, they make you pay for it.
That explains a lot. Was wondering how.
Like I wish like when you created the giveaway, I wish it would just make you pay for it then, so that way whenever you're on stream trying to get it done, you're not fumbling around trying to pay for it.
All right, a giveaway has started. Well, I believe I've got 5 minutes on the clock. So if you use the code !Regulators, you can enter for a chance to win the Regulators t-shirt, which includes the stylized text, the Regulators on the front, and the Winds of Earrenia logo on the right shoulder, or right sleeve, I should say. I apologize that some people dropped off before we were able to run this during break. But we had Streamlabs crashed entirely and stopped all 3 streams. So if you are watching from any of the alternate services, make sure you hop over on Twitch, give Bold Wolf Gaming a follow. Bold Wolf Gaming Company, I should say. That is what it's called on Twitch. And you can have a chance to enter for this t-shirt. So, closing thoughts, everybody, on this session. I know we started out with shopping, which isn't always that entertaining to watch, but can be interesting to participate in. But what did you guys think of everything that happened tonight?
Good stuff.
I thought it was interesting. Like some good role playing and stuff going on. Some good role playing, some good implications for the future of the campaign. You know, definitely good to see kind of where the direction might be going, and to get some motivation from this person that we're looking at as a villain technically, but he has his own motives that may not be completely evil.
So
it's
was
very
this
interesting character development?
Was this what you were expecting at any point from when the message he left at the base of the Sinsol Vale, or when his messenger showed up? Was any of this even remotely what you expected?
Hell no.
No.
I was expecting more of him him wanting to take care of Orcus to try to ascend to godhood himself.
That's what
Um,
I was kind of thinking.
I wasn't really expecting him to go the other way, where it's just like, I just want to live forever, leave me alone, kind of thing.
Right. Right. That part actually surprised me.
But I mean, it makes sense. He can turn whoever he wants, and keep them around for a while. So he can build his own little family of undead people and just kind of chill.
Be happy. Yeah.
I figured it was something that would make sense. Turning vampire just so you can live forever. It's a perfectly legitimate motivation. And of course, coming from a noble family and not really getting to enjoy that part of it until he was near the end of his life, I figured that was a reason you could believe somebody might want to turn vampire. And of course, I'm sure you can all understand how irritating it would be to get your immortality and then be stuck in a coffin for 5,000 years, all because you decided to back your creator and you picked the losing side, but you never really had a dog in the fight to begin with. Now, Malcolm, you seemed particularly worried when the carriage pulled up with that giant bat leading it. What was that about?
I just don't like bats.
Ah, okay. Good to know. I'll try to keep those.
I have had 2 bats in the house, okay, twice.
What?
In the same
How?
year. In the same year. We don't know how. It was not pleasant.
I'm sure it wasn't.
Especially when you have 2 hyper dogs. The last time it was just Nelly, I think, actually. Yeah, the bat comes flying down. Nellie's trying to freaking jump up in the air and grab it out of the air. It was ridiculous.
Well, good to know. So, I know to avoid anything related to snakes when Eric's around.
Yeah,
Dude, you do anything with snakes, I will smack you. I will
Jess freaked
smack
out.
you.
The first time I freaked out quite a bit too, but the second time, like once it actually like started flying around the living room, we were able to I can't remember if we knocked it on the ground or what, but I grabbed a towel and wrapped around my hand and just freaking grabbed it and threw it out the door.
Like, get out.
Funny though, bats are one of those things that there's no real good reason for us to be unsettled by them. I mean, sanitary wise, I mean, you don't want to have an attic full of their guano. That can be really bad for your health. But
Right.
I think CJ might have knocked the one out of the air the one time. That might have been what happened. CJ might have knocked it to the ground when I was trying to go up the stairs, and then I just grabbed it and threw it out.
Oh, Jesus.
Relatively harmless creatures, and yes, sweetie, I do think they're cute when they sit still. They're mice with wings, and mice are cute. Again, gross, but they're cute when you really think about it. So.
Oh my God, you're like my little brother.
But this creature, and I wish I could find many of my inspiration come from random images I come across on the internet, and somebody actually had a drawing of something like this, a gigantic bat creature. But this, of course, no eyes, foaming mouth, sharp teeth.
Yeah, that would unsettle anybody, though.
Yeah, this was much more unsettling than a normal bat. 3 minutes left, or sorry, 4 minutes technically, and 40 seconds left on the clock on this giveaway. So if you are again watching from YouTube or Facebook, make sure you hop over to the Twitch feed, follow Bold Wolf Gaming Company, and get your chance to win this t-shirt. I feel really bad for the 3 or 4 other people who were watching and either dropped out because we were shopping or got lost when the stream went down. I feel like that's what it was.
I feel like they got bored because we were still shopping.
Yeah,
Because like 1 minute I looked over, we had 3 viewers, and then the next minute, boom, 1. And I'm like, oh shit.
Oh.
But yeah, trying to think of yeah, bats. They're just unsettling. Like it's not that they're like I'm afraid of them or anything. It's just they're flying mice. It's like
Yeah,
Snakes is a big phobia for me, man.
See, snakes, I like. There's a logic to that. I'm curious what it is that makes humans so nervous about bats. Because again,
I don't know. My dad kept telling me ever since I was little, he's like, "Oh, don't let it get near your hair, or it's gonna get stuck in your hair, and it's gonna bite you." So
Yeah.
ever since then, I was like, "Nope."
I suppose that's a
I just don't-
possibility, but they generally avoid you.
I just don't want to come upon some situation where Dwight Schrute puts a garbage bag over my head with a bat.
Yeah.
And then, like 3 years later, I get hit by a car, and find out I have rabies, and they throw a fun run for me. You know, I don't want that.
All right. By the way, clutch move, Jake getting that amulet that prevents disease. Smart idea. Of course, you guys didn't end up being in any danger, but that was very clever reasoning. And I also I opened up because I still haven't actually got the chance to really look through Tasha's Cauldron, but I figured there's got to be new magic items and stuff in it, and there is, but most of them are tuned specifically for magic users. Most of them have to be attuned by clerics, bards, wizards, sorcerers, stuff like that. Technically, your magic screwdriver is too, but it had functions that didn't require you to be an artificer to use it, so I threw that one in there. But yeah, now I know not to look in that for random magic items. But yeah, that was clever move. By the way, don't forget to choose your new spell.
Yeah, I'll work on that this upcoming week. It's just work's been so crazy lately, and all of the micromanaging, it's so stressful. It feels like the last session was like 2 months ago.
Well, glad we were able to give you a little booster shot of D&D.
Yeah, that was nice.
I am loving my new setup. Whenever I'm going to wait until my new monitor stands come in and the second monitor. But for those watching, I will be putting a picture on Instagram of my new D&D station on Instagram once I'm all set up. But I'm absolutely loving this. It feels permanent. I don't feel like I have to move tons of shit before I go to bed tonight. It's comfortable.
Except for that player, that's it.
Yeah, but that I just have to move that a little bit for the green screen. The green screen setup is 10 times easier now. And I don't have to move shit between streams. It's so great. I don't even actually have to use the big TV as a monitor anymore once I get the other one. But for those of you who don't know, I got a new L-shaped desk. I'm getting rid of that old behemoth that I used to have. I got an L-shaped desk, though. Instead of putting it in the corner, I actually have the L kind of sticking out into the room. So the back of it is facing the corner. And the short end of the desk is up against the wall, but the long end is basically taking place of the black table I used to use when we were doing in person. So when we go back to in person, the table you guys sit at will come out from there, and it'll be pushed closer to the TV, so all of you guys can sit on one side, and we'll have the Hello 2 set up as a cam for the cast. But again, I don't have to move a bunch of shit or put a bunch of shit away when I'm done. Everything's where it will always be.
You're gonna lose all your dice, I swear.
I'm just putting them away. I have some cable management issues I need to work through. And I also need to rethink where I'm putting the PlayStation and all of that, but...
Cable management, what's that?
Something I really need to work on.
Same here.
Especially
it doesn't help, though, that
No, the PlayStation will go on the goddamn shelf and we could put the stupid shelf on the stupid wall.
It doesn't help that I have 4 DisplayPort cables because I have 2 for my PC and then 2 for my dock for my work computer. So I just swap them out into the monitors whenever I switch between work and play.
Yeah, that's one of the tricks with me too. I have HDMI cable that one running from my monitor and one going from the TV that I have to switch out depending on the PS4 is going to the TV during the day, but when I'm playing PS4 games it's going to be going to the monitor once I have both. That's also how I play the first
clicker thingy.
Yeah. And I also take the HDMI from the PS4 and move it to the Raspberry Pi when I do 90s games. So yeah, I've got to work some things out, but everything's a lot more comfortable than it was. So it looks like the raffle
It would be a lot easier if...
over. Pick winner.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be once I find a place and move, I'm going to be upgrading to a bigger desk, and I'll probably be getting some more.
You planning on moving again?
Oh, I'm trying to buy a house. I've been looking for a house.
Congratulations, Ryan. You got the t-shirt.
Look at that.
All right. Well, if anybody's watching this on VOD, don't worry. I will be running another one of these probably our next session to make up for the clusterfuck with Streamlabs going down. I think you don't have Streamlabs set up to mod because the link got deleted. What the heck? Okay. Let me see if I can. Crap. So what do I do? Mods.
Mod Streamlabs, yeah, I think.
It's a little ridiculous that you have to do that.
Well, Streamlabs and Twitch are separate.
Well, you have to do the backslash before mod. So /mod Streamlabs.
Oh, /mod.
But then I'm not sure if it's going to unblock the link it already sent. No, just...
We'll figure this out.
Eventually.
Alright, let me see if I can manually... I'm going to have to go to Twitch.
You're just not putting the right slash in.
Which slash is she using?
Oh, I replied back. Never mind. I did the wrong thing. Let me type this in just general chat. Accidentally was in reply to Streamlabs. Yeah, you're putting a / in. Should have been a backslash.
Okay, which one's the forward and which one's the freaking backwards?
/
This is probably why I failed.
Mod. Okay.
But now I don't know if it'll redo the...
It says it's already a moderator. Let me see if I can manually unblock that message.
And with them making this difficult, it's just probably going to be hard for giveaways.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened because like mine. I've done 2 now that have gone on without a hitch. I don't know.
That's good. Well, we're just trying to figure this out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the difference was,
Wait,
especially since you have it as a mod too.
Okay, about to say, it was saying I wasn't live.
Maybe you have it in chat options under moderation. You might have hyperlinks blocked automatically.
Oh, that's
All
ridiculous.
right, how do I get to the mod view? Ah, here we go, mod view.
You guys are catching up in HP. I only rolled a 2 this time.
Huh?
Whenever we leveled up. You didn't roll an extra
Oh,
dice for
yes, I
HP?
did. I think I did. I don't remember. That was like a week
Well,
or
I only
two.
rolled 3, so
Well, I rolled a 2, so you did better than me this time.
I don't even remember what I rolled. Like I said, this was like 2 weeks ago. I don't even remember anything from 2 weeks ago. My brain's mush.
There's got to be a way to unblock that link.
Sorry. I want a donut.
If nothing else, I think if you go into did you do it through CloudBot in the Streamlabs dashboard?
I just through the merch store. It said do a giveaway.
Yeah, I think it does it through CloudBot. If you go to the dashboard, like with the merch and everything else like that, if you click on CloudBot under Stream Essentials, and then click on giveaways in the top like list of stuff you can click on. If you go to giveaway history, and then click on the 3 dots on the right where it says more details, you might be able to see if it still has the link there, or some way to resend the link.
Well, it still shows it as active. Don't forget to mod Streamlabs by typing. Okay, so should I hit complete?
Is there anything there?
Let's see. Giveaways. Crap. Oh, giveaway history. Signed. More details. Not seeing the link. Alright, bear with me just a moment here.
Technology's being a pain in the ass.
Fudge.
Okay, so there should be an ID number for the giveaway.
Yep.
If you give that to me, I can type it into a link, evidently.
Oh. That's why I don't want to do it that way.
Or you can just send it to me in the messenger if you want to. Doesn't matter.
I sent it to you as a whisper on Twitch.
That worked.
Yay!
And now I have to get with the person that won my last shirt because it looks like she didn't redeem hers. So
Wait, so she won, but she didn't take the giveaway?
yeah, she's a little bit technologically not as technologically savvy as other people.
All right. Well, sorry for about. Yes, Eric, you. Where were you? We did it at the end of the stream because the entire stream crashed right before we went to break, and we lost all of our viewers, and nobody was watching till the very end. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm thinking about doing another one next session, because
Heck,
this one
we
went
even
to...
have a cup we could freaking give away too, because I don't want to keep it.
Okay.
I worked hard on it. I just don't want to keep it.
Yeah, we will. We do have some custom stuff we will also be giving away at some point, once we get to that stage. But we will be doing another Regulators t-shirt giveaway next session. We'll try, and I'll try to figure out what caused the major crash this time around. But you will have another shot at that t-shirt 2 weeks from now. Tomorrow, don't forget to tune in for the By Zero Squad double feature. Tom Clancy's The Division and Call of Duty Cold War on Monday night, Tuesday morning, 90s night with Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and Tuesday night / Wednesday morning is Sci-Fi night with Rebel Galaxy. Look forward to seeing everybody at those streams. We are done for tonight. We will see you in a couple weeks for the next session of Winds of Earrenia. Have a good night.
I see 4 viewers on Twitch.